Hi guys. Um we're here. Tuesday night. I'm here. Anyway. Uh we're gonna vamp for just a few minutes. I tried to push it. Um I was I tried to get a time. I thought we would be here, but we're here. Christina will not be with us this evening. Jacob is walking in the door and hopefully sitting down at his computer as we speak. Um maybe. That might be there he is.
I want you to know, I was sitting in front of this computer at 8:05, and the battery
Uh-huh.
just quit. On a AA battery, and I'm gonna let you know right. I mean, it's fitting that happened because I'm gonna let you know right now. If you want this show to be on the rails, Seth, you are gonna have to keep it on the rails because I'm off the rails by a lot right now.
Well, I mean, after last weekend, do we really have to stay on the rails? I mean, obviously it was not a great weekend. I know you've been busy.
I mean, if you want, we can talk about my week. We can talk about the WNBA and my infatuation with Caitlin Clark and all that's going on there. We've got hockey playoffs going on. The NBA
Nobody
is
talks WNBA.
the NBA is over because the Minnesota Timberwolves are out. So normally, I mean, I remember watching the WNBA when I was, I don't know. I remember watching a game specifically read like the inaugural season at my dad's house, which I was probably like 8. And then I watched one last year in LA. We went to a Sparks game when I was there for the Open Cup. And then yeah, I don't really watch it much, but Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have revitalized the WNBA and given me a reason to at least, I don't watch the game still. I've watched a couple, but I haven't watched a lot just because it's hard for me to keep track of when games are and stuff like that. But the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark specifically is just, I'm loving it. And so yeah. What else can we talk about? I mean, we can talk about just about anything else besides the game if you want.
We can talk about the fact it is Tuesday night and we are here and we are United Front. Jane, Josh, and Mama Christina all over in the chat already. Thank you guys so much for being here. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. That is Jacob Terrell, who decided to grace us with his presence this evening.
Kind of.
Birdhouse. Oh, I know. Is that the? I think I know what that is.
No, so this is a leather company out of.
That is not what I know.
It's a leather company out of Fort Sumner here. The guy, his wife's family owns the grocery store here, and he works at the grocery store, and then he also does leather. And so yeah, I literally ran in the door, kissed everybody goodnight, came over here, mouse died, chaos.
Is it hot enough for you yet?
Oh, now the batteries on the Xbox controller died, so my wife can't watch TV in the bedroom. Yeah, it's chaos. It is pretty warm here. It's been 100. Well, Google has said it hasn't been 100, but my truck has said it's been 100 the last 2 days.
My car said it was 109 yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. But
I think it's an internal temperature potentially, but
possibly.
That might be it. Although I do believe the air temperature inside the car was significantly hotter than that.
Agreed. Yeah.
But no, it was warm, and my office building's air conditioner was not working at full capacity yesterday. That was miserable. But it was a welcome change. The thermostat was like at 80 and wouldn't go any lower. But it's a welcome change from the normal, like 72, just sitting in my cubicle blowing constantly all day long. So yeah. So there was a Mexico United game over the weekend. Lots of sports things going on. Did you watch the U.S. Open?
I watched the final couple holes of the final round.
Oh, okay.
That's literally all I could watch. I love the U.S. Open, especially at Oakmont. Oakmont's one of my favorite courses to watch because it's just so tough. Yeah. And it's not like gimmicky tough. It's just tough. Yeah. And so I love watching it. And unfortunately, if I were to tell you what all I did this weekend, it would be a 2-hour-long podcast just with that. So I'm not going to go there. But yeah, it was. I did not watch a lot. I have not watched the game. Full disclosure.
So why are we here?
I watched the highlight package about an hour ago.
Okay. Well,
You're here. We're here so you can tell me about the game.
Yes, we will be doing it. Yeah, U.S. Open, that was a lot of fun. I watched that starting with the opening round on Thursday. Watched it through the weekend. Winner of that was a 1 under par.
Mm-hmm. JJ Spawn.
Yeah, Victor Perez, former Lobo, got an ace on the 6th. Great to see that for him. He did not finish in the top 10, but you get an ace at the U.S. Open. That's obviously something to talk about. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, there's baseball going on. It's almost the All-Star break. NBA is just about done. Did the Thunder clinch it tonight, or is that?
No, they play tomorrow night. They played last night. The Thunder went up 3-1 or 3-2. Sorry,
3-2. Okay, that's weird. They're off. It's a 2-night break then because they don't play till Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't play till Thursday.
The Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers might be clinching this cup tonight, the Stanley Cup.
Fair enough. Andrew Bolte, good news over the weekend. New Mexico United Academy won over FC Tucson 4-1. Hey, that's great news.
Mm-hmm.
Far better than what happened Saturday out in Lexington. I just quickly, I do want to say again, if you didn't listen to last week's show, if you weren't here, please go give it a listen. Really great conversation with soon-to-be former Vice President of Media and Impact, David Weesey Carl, who is moving on to Houston Dynamo, Houston Dash. His final week with the club will be next week. So go give that a listen. If you see David on social media, he did a radio interview today with 1017, the team. Give both of them a listen. I mean, just go talk to David, tell him thank you. Give him a story of how you came to the club. We talked about that last week, how we came to the club. Go share a story with David. If you see him this Saturday, walk up to him, shake his hand, give him a hug, whatever. Tell him thank you for all the work that he's done. I mean, we obviously we can't thank him enough. So, but yeah, other than that, I mean, shall we talk about this? New Mexico United Lexington SC, first ever meeting between these two clubs. This on paper should have been a New Mexico United walkthrough. It really should have been. You look at the teams, you look at how they're doing so far this year, top of the West, bottom of the West.
We don't need to watch that. No, just kidding.
Well, we do, unfortunately.
I probably do because I've only watched it once. So.
Yeah. Looking into obviously, Hursty still injured, not on the injury report. Dayon Harris was the only person on the injury report on Saturday. Hursty should be any day. Tony Herbert should be any day, thankfully, because there's news on that. Sergio Rivas is back. Dayon should be back before too much longer. Still no actual time frame on that. But
the only thing I will say to all of that is that I had heard Hurst was a 1 or 2 week injury when he first missed.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't hear anything about Rivas until basically we were like, something has to be going on. Otherwise, where did he go? Yeah. Same with Herbert. And so I'm taking everything about he should be back soon. He's day to day, week to week, whatever, with a huge grain of salt. Because not only do we not know, when it comes to a lot of this stuff, the club doesn't know. Medical professionals don't know, especially when it comes to soft tissue injuries, because they could be doing really good and then tweak one little thing and could miss another week. And so,
well, as we talked about, Hursty did have a minor procedure done, and we were told that it would be 2 weeks ago. We were told it would be another week or two before he was back. So potentially this weekend. Herbert off the injury report. We were told that he's close. Again, 2 weeks ago we were told a week or two. So, I mean, until things change, until we hear something different, that's what we're going with. But I mean, watching this match on Saturday, again, it's one of those, both clubs came out high presses. United controlled the lion's share position like we typically do. I thought this here was an awful,
terrible call. Yeah, terrible
call. You see the challenge, literally gets the ball And it's the contact comes after the fact. Terrible call. Should not have been a yellow.
I will say, having only seen that version of it, I cannot tell, but there is a small chance that his stud is a little up. Not enough to warrant a red card, but he could have gone in. I don't know. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I didn't like the call when it happened.
Go back and look at it.
But he very well could.
So yes, clearly the stud is up. The foot is raised. It's that your foot's like this. So of course the stud's going to be up. But he shoots the ball. Gideon plays the ball. And it's on the attacker's follow through that he gets hit. This is not a foul by any stretch of the imagination. This is not a foul here. Good play by Gideon. I think he did really well. I know there was a question over in the Discord as to whether or not he would be suspended for the next match. He will not be. That was his 5th yellow of the season. So he is going to get fined by the league, but he will not be suspended. Suspension does not happen until the 8th caution of the season. He has not had any rescinded due to good behavior yet. So, but yeah, it's just, obviously, again, ball comes in, foot's up to play the ball, plays the ball, catches the foot after. Not a foul. Get up, move on. He didn't play in a dangerous manner. He didn't do anything reckless. It was a good challenge. Yes, Josh, that we will absolutely talk about that if Jacob knows what is what you're talking about there.
I do.
Okay, good. So we will talk about it. But no, United played well in the first half. We didn't necessarily give anything up. I think they had 0 shots on target in the first half. And then here, just a wonderfully worked ball. I love the interplay here. I love the ball out. I love the awareness by Quelle to play the ball back into the middle. And really a great job by Fernando here to get that finish.
3 matches, Andrew.
Really great.
3 matches without a yellow. Yeah, and there was another one that they showed earlier that was really good buildup, and then a ball into Fernando, who had a little heavy touch. The first touch could have been a little cleaner and maybe let him set himself up to get a better finish on it. But the keeper comes out and makes a good stop. But the lead up to that chance was also really nice. So I would agree. From what I saw in this package here, pretty good play, pretty good build up, pretty good chances. Marcus Epps coming through in the clutch there with a bobbled touch because it's Marcus Epps. And then there were a couple chances for Lexington. There was one on that cross that we just played where it somehow sneaks all the way through and somebody's at the back post but can't get a touch on it. So overall, I thought first half probably should have gotten a 1-0 lead after watching that highlight package. Again, since I didn't watch, I can't tell, but everything that I saw was basically like, hey, we were solid until Ryden went down. And then when Ryden went down, chaos ensued. Yeah,
that's a fair assessment. I know you're not terribly active over on Discord. Josh Carrillo, how you doing, buddy?
Josh, long time no talk. Buddy.
Yeah, I saw see the flag football team's doing really well. I know you guys just had a tournament not too long ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Glad to see you.
Josh started or was part of Seek and Strike with you in the first year, and we've had him on the show a couple times. And he's down in Los Lunas where I used to live. So shout out Josh.
Yeah. Josh, we'd love to get you on some night. If you're free, just let us know. But yeah, it was, where was I? I don't even remember where I was going. So I know Discord. I know you're not terribly active in the Discord. There was a certain individual who was talking shit on Fernando. Saying how they weren't happy with this individual, saying how they weren't impressed by him, this, that, and the other. And about 3 minutes later, Fernando scores.
I will be perfectly honest with you. Fernando is like feast or famine. He has been incredible at times. And then, I'm sorry, but our former colleague Earl used to talk mad shit about a lot of strikers and moonballs and stuff like that. Most of it unwarranted. And with Fernando, most of any hate against him is unwarranted. Mm-hmm. But I will never forget the sitter that he missed against, I'm going to forget who it was against, but it was 3 feet in front of goal. And it came in pretty hot, but he still was able to put it over the bar somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that every once in a while. I don't think the finish earlier Saturday night that he missed on the through ball, I don't think that was necessarily against him, but he has missed some and misplayed some and had some bad first touches, including earlier, that I've thought, man, I think if he could get those under control and just do a little bit better with some of those other chances, he would be top tier finisher in the league. But because of that, he's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I get exactly it. It is frustrating when your strikers have, sitters and they don't put the touch on it that they need to, right? It's always frustrating. Now, this individual over on Discord was talking shit about Fernando. Fernando scores. Individual says, I'm going to eat crow. And then 2 minutes later, back to talking shit about Fernando. I'm like, you can't have both. I stayed out of it. I was active in the Discord on Saturday, but
I'm proud of you.
As I am with all away matches, even home matches. But I stayed out of it. I let the person say their piece, and then they left dipping, saying family duties. If you know, you know. So
was this? Hold on. Was this person somebody that I know?
Yes.
Do you know who this person was?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That is hilarious because I just put it together too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we both know that person.
Everybody in the chat knows that person.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
But here, and so, all right, I do need to point out something here. We have all been mispronouncing Alex's last name.
Tambakis. Yes.
Apparently, he only just told the club.
Oh, so this announcer wasn't effing it up?
This announcer was not effing it up. No. Alex.
I'm sorry, Alex. Alex, if you're listening, and I know you are, not really, but if you're listening, bro, it's been 5 seasons. Like, what are we doing here, buddy?
Yeah. According to David Weesey Carl, who spoke with Alex, his last name has been mispronounced ever since he came to the States. So before he came to United, people were mispronouncing it.
Our whole lives have been a lie. Everything you ever told me was a lie.
I feel lied to, and here I am, and we discuss how bad other announcers are, how bad other play-by-play and commentary folks are. Nobody here knew that we were pronouncing his last name wrong.
Did Alex know? Or
Alex knew. No, Alex knew. What he told David Weesey Carl was that ever since he came here, his last name has been mispronounced.
Tambakis.
So, but they did send, and so the way the announcer was calling it on Saturday was accurate. The club did, as you and I know, we've talked about it here before, the club sends out pronunciation guides.
Mm-hmm.
They sent it to Lexington, and they did it correctly.
What was the other name that the announcers were messing up?
They kept Seymour. Will Seymour.
Yeah, that was the other one.
Like, seriously?
So to be fair, so I know there were some people in Facebook that gave him crap about Tambakis' last name.
Yeah.
But I could see where they would be like, well, yeah, one, we've been calling him Tambakis for. I'm probably going to keep calling him Tambakis because
it's going to be so forever. Hard to not say that.
But also, if the announcer is also saying Seymour, then I'm not going to give the announcer the benefit of the doubt and assume he's right.
Well, so these announcers, they were mispronouncing Will's last name, and we know it's Seymour. We know it is. Like, I don't know where you get Seymour on it. And then they kept calling the wrong names on plays.
Yeah.
On Gideon's foul, they said it was Gloucester. It was not.
Yeah.
There was another one they did it, and they did it again at the other end as well, where they said, I think they said Marlon shot, but it was someone else. They kept mixing up players. And I want to show something here. I think it's in this highlight here. If we can get a close-up shot. I hate the Lexington home kits.
Yeah,
I hate
like almost black on black.
Yeah, it's like a dark forest green, on black.
Yeah.
I hated this. I voiced this on to Melanie on Saturday.
You voiced it to the void because nobody's gonna care. But
yeah, I
Melanie will care. Melanie will care.
Yeah, Melanie will care. So Harry had a similar problem with, was it the San Antonio?
San Antonio had black on black kits.
Yes, and this is not far off of that, but this is just awful coloring, made it impossible. You can't read the numbers, you can't read the names. I pride myself on being really well aware and not having to refer to FOTMob or USLchampionship.com to figure out who it was. But like, this was awful.
Yeah,
this was awful. See, she cares.
I know. I said you would.
Yeah.
When he first said that he voiced it, I thought he was going to say on Twitter or Reddit.
I voiced some things
Discord.
on Twitter too, not about that, but
okay.
But yeah, here you see Tambakis with a big save.
I can't.
God, I am gonna struggle. That's gonna drive me nuts. But yeah, like you couldn't really see. It's just I hated it. I really did. And I don't know if I didn't watch a highlight package. I did rewatch the game. I don't know if the
yes.
Oh, I can appreciate that. Spinning ribs on a Ford Focus. Entirely accurate, Josh. Entirely accurate. I don't know. Is Kalen's injury in here?
No, it's not.
It's not. Okay. So if you go back and watch the match, I highly recommend. And this was something that really bothered me about the broadcast on Saturday, was they actually went back and showed the replay of Kalen getting hurt, and then they focused the camera on Kalen as he was walking off the pitch the entire time. I have a massive problem with it. And this comes after the goal. There had been a significant stoppage here. Oop, let me put that back. There had been a significant stoppage in play. We get back. You hit the header.
Can you back that up?
Yeah. I don't know where you want me to go
right
to,
there.
but okay.
So how much of this is Kalen not being in there?
That's a good question. I don't like this angle because it's hard to say. But you've got Will, you've got Gideon.
So
I think
Gideon Seymour gets
to,
beat there.
He does.
Flat out. He gets beat there,
mm-hmm.
which it's the start of bad things, but there are so many other things after this that should have made that Seymour getting beat null and void.
Mm-hmm.
But so Seymour does get beat there, and then you can let it play. I mean, Gideon, Seymour gets beat. Gideon's not expecting him to get beat. Was there a foul there?
That's a good question.
I don't think so. I think feet just get tangled, but that seriously hurts us because now a man is pretty much out of the play.
I'm not sure if that's feet getting tangled because you do see the upper body, but I don't think it's a foul. You got Gloucester slide out.
He doesn't quite get out there enough.
Yeah.
But Jabang gets his head up there. I think
Jabang's half a second early.
My point on this is it looks bad, but in reality, it's fairly well executed by Lexington. And I don't think Kalen being in there makes a huge amount of difference. Maybe his positioning is better. He is really good in aerial duels. So maybe instead of Jabang being right there, it's him. I'm not sure. But I know that the team was pretty upset after the injury.
Yeah.
And so mentally, I don't know if everybody's there. Yeah, Jabang jumps just a hair early.
Yeah, it's half a second later, that that it's, I mean, Jabang's in great positioning. You've got Will in good positioning. You've got Talon, really good positioning here. It's just the jump is a second early. That's all it is. The jump's a second early. The ball happens to fall. I can't fault them for the positioning here. I do think there's a letdown after the injury. Now, Andrew brings up a good point. Now, I don't know if you saw it or not, but Kalen did take a knock at the end.
I haven't
of the first
seen
half
it.
well.
I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
I wish the clip was in here, but the Lexington player, Kalen's, going up the left side of the pitch. I think he got a yellow for it. Let me see who it was. The Lexington player comes in from behind, almost in a scissors-like position with his legs, takes down Kalen. Kalen goes down, hits his head on the pitch. They come out. I assume they assess for concussion and determine Kalen's good to continue. So, that being said, should Kalen have still been on the pitch if they've already assessed him? It was Xavier Zinge who came in and got him from behind.
What minute was it?
42nd minute. So I'll let you take a look at that. So yeah, Kalen's coming up left side of the pitch. Zenge comes in from behind, looks to have a scissor tackle on his leg, catches Kalen, comes down. I don't think that's where the collarbone happened, Justin. I really don't, because if you go back and watch the actual injury in the second half, how he comes down on his left side, you can see shoulder, elbow go. And the broadcast, I really disagree with them going back and replaying the injury. That's one of those things where you watch it in the booth and you say, we're not going to show you the injury. Like with Arturo. Yes, yeah. I went back and watched it several times.
Sorry, what minute was it?
42nd minute is where the foul occurred. 41st, 42nd minute. But so with Arturo, I obviously went back. I was like, okay, trying to figure out, okay, what happened? What is the injury? And I'm not going to go back and see that because we've all seen it. Terrible injury to Arturo. I'm not going to say go back and watch the injury to Kalen unless you're just genuinely curious. But you can see what happens when he comes down. I broke my arm, not like this, but playing sports as a kid. I came down on my left arm. And my arm ended up like this. My left arm, it was like this. So if you come down on that brace arm wrong, you're gonna do something. And I don't fault Kalen. Kalen's just trying to ease the fall. Like, did you see that foul yet?
No, I'm trying to find it here. Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did see it.
Yeah. So to me, I think Zenge probably should have been sent off for that. That is a reckless play.
I mean, I disagree. I know he technically goes through the player, but he's not coming through. When he leaves his feet, he's not coming through the back. He's on the side. He wins the ball. It's clearly a foul. I don't think it's a red.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it both ways.
Actually, that after I watched the slow-mo replay, it's close.
Yeah.
I love how he's mad. He's like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Yeah, no, it was awful. Andrew, I agree. I thought it was a secondary head injury at first. I was concerned about that because when you see him come down,
and does that happen? Does the actual injury happen right before their second goal or before their first goal?
55th minute.
55th?
Yeah. No, sorry.
I was like, I'm in the 58.
58, 59.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, when you come down that second time, again, the thought goes, okay, he just got checked for concussion protocol. is this another head? But then when he stays down, you see them go to that arm. But yeah, like I said, I had a real big problem with how the broadcast handled this. And you see them supporting his left arm as he's walking up, but you see his shoulder just does not look right. Like it's like this. Like you see his left shoulder significantly lower than his right shoulder, and that's where you know something's wrong.
Yeah, the way Zelalem reacts immediately, I would have thought, no, it's not a head injury, because with head injuries, they're not like another player's not going to be like, come out now when it's a head injury, unless he's like knocked out, and Ryden clearly wasn't knocked out. So that, I mean, hindsight. When he first goes down, like he does roll, he goes down and like kind of like rolls over,
Yeah. So maybe there is that concern that he did lose consciousness for a second, but
did they call a foul on it?
Yes. So this goal here was probably a minute, or probably. So the delay ended at 62, and then there was a weird delay. They were trying to figure out substitutions. United had subs ready to go in the 62nd minute as Kalen's coming off.
They show a good highlight of the first injury or of the first foul on him. And yeah, that replay of that foul, yeah, he probably should have been sent off.
Yeah. But yeah, so Kalen comes off in the 62nd. They signal to resume play, but then there's like this weird lull where they're bringing on substitutes. And there's some sort of confusion. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but it takes them about 3 minutes from the time that Kalen walks off to the time that the substitutes come on, and play restarts. And this is right after that. So we give the ball away right off the free kick. And so it was a weird sequence. And I was sitting there watching it live and going, what's the delay in this match? Yeah, Josh, that was my initial reaction, was that something was his shoulder looked out of socket. Judging by how he came down, my concern was that he popped it out. And the way
we had a great chance right there, right after the
and the way he was carrying himself, that was my initial reaction. And then with them supporting it, a couple people said it looked like his elbow was out. But yeah, this came right after. So it felt very disjointed for about 10 minutes after the restart, the substitute. It was very strange. And the announcers didn't really say anything. They didn't acknowledge it any. It was just very, very strange. Yeah. And then just, we make a series of substitutes. Daniel Bruce comes on, Sergio Rivas comes on. I thought McKenzie had a pretty good game. He came off. And then again, like we saw a few weeks ago, United for the final 10 minutes of the match goes and basically throws everything forward that they can. But, at that point, is it too little too late? But I mean, I will say this, United was aggressive. They were looking for that, after the second goal gets scored here, United got aggressive. They were looking for it. They were pushing. We go off the post at one point. Like, it's difficult to see that happen. And this is, to Justin's point here, Bruce looks a little lost. Obviously, Bruce is a fan favorite. Guy signs autographs for forever after the matches. And here's the second goal. Like, this is just really unfortunate here. What do you think is going on with Brucey? Is it system? Is it lack of use? Is it, is he just not feeling it? Someone said that, he's showing his age. I'm like, he's 29.
My hot take?
Go for it.
This is who Brucey has been. Last year, though, he had to play, like because of Abu Danladi's injuries and just the lack of depth we had at the 9, and the way that the 9 operated under Quill, he fit that a little bit better. So it's a little bit system, but also Bruce is a professional soccer player because he goes balls to the wall every minute of every second of every minute that he's out on the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what he does. Under Sanchez, obviously there's a time and a place that is beneficial. It doesn't seem like it's how Sanchez wants his 9s to be. And I know Brucey can play other places. I mean, we've seen him play all the way from like right back to central mid to the number 9 and out on the wings. But I think everybody that's wanted Brucey to be a 90-minute player, he's not a 90-minute player.
Mm-mm.
He's never been a 90-minute player. And until he picks his spots on when to go balls to the wall, he'll never be a 90-minute player. So I love him to death. He's the perfect player to come on when we're trailing by a goal and we need a boost of energy. The problem is we have a lot of those guys now.
Mm-hmm.
Most of our forwards have speed and some tenacity, especially when we're down a goal. And so he doesn't stick out quite as much as he used to. I think he's still a damn good soccer player. And I think eventually he will settle into a role with his team. But we just haven't quite figured out where it is yet.
Yeah, I don't see him as a true 9. And he's certainly not like you said, he's not a 90-minute guy. We've said this all of last year. He's not a 90-minute guy. He's a guy that's going to come in and give you 60 minutes of pure energy. I think 60 minutes is where he's at. I think these 15 minutes, 20 minutes, like, yeah, he can come on and he's going to be a pest for 15, 20 minutes. But I think you need him out there for 60 to really run at people, wear them down and create things. I think, yes, you can do it in 30.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just he's not a 90-minute guy.
He either needs to be on for 60 to wear the guys down, or the other guys that start need to wear them down. So when Brucey comes on, he can punish them.
Yeah, and he's certainly not a prototypical 9 either with his size. Like that's just not him.
I like Josh's point here though, and I want to speak to that. Maybe too ambitious morphing him into a 9. Maybe he can find success back in the wing or the mid. I would agree with that. The problem is we're kind of stacked at wing and mid. And we've got, like, I love Brucey in a like pseudo 10 role, but Vargas has arguably been our best attacking player in that number 10 role. And so what do you do there? Or if you move him to a wing, Fernando Gaines, Akale, Harris when he comes back, how do you rotate that to keep everybody in their best spots and fresh? It's hard to say. And so yeah, I think to touch on what we'll talk about here in a little bit with our buddy Bonnie calling for Sanchez's head in a weird way on Facebook. Like, we're still very much trying to figure things out because we are only 15 matches into the season, and that's including Open Cup and Jägermeister Cup. And so, like, we're still early, guys. Like, we're still trying to figure things out.
Yeah. And
a big part of that is Brucey, right?
Yeah. This is really unfortunate here. I mean, the ball comes off the players as they go down, falls right to Lexington. But yeah, we're still trying to figure things out, which is unfortunate. Oh, I wish Quelle had gotten a slightly better touch there, but
see, like that was Brucey. Brucey played that beautifully.
Oh, he did.
And
I think Brucey's
he can do stuff like that really good.
I think Brucey's decision making is still top notch. Like he has good vision of the pitch. He knows what he wants to do. He's not overly selfish. He knew like in that moment, like he knew there's Tambakis with another big save. But again, it's where was it? Bruce and Among combined for minutes. Where was Among in this one? We didn't use Among. So
I'm getting worried there, by the way.
That's been the question. Where is Among? Why is Among not been featured more? Why is he not getting 80 minutes every single match while Hershey's been out? Like we heard that potentially was a fitness thing. But I thought that was figured out.
Yeah.
I thought we'd heard that he was finally there. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is with that. Like, I do agree. It is a bit concerning though. Why hasn't Among found more of a dynamic role? And I know it's hard to say, oh, well, Gaines hasn't played well or Vargas hasn't played well, because you can't say they haven't played well. I think this was one of Gideon's best matches. I think Fernando's been playing well. Quelle has been playing really well. So I don't know. Where does Among fit in this club, especially if Hursty's now healthy? With Hursty's injury, with it being a minor procedure, is this one of those things where they both get 60? I mean, Andrew, I don't necessarily think that he's an 80-minute every single week guy either. I don't think he is, but I think with Hurst being out, without having a true 9, without having someone in that role, Among's the best one. Among's the best fit. So, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know there. So yeah, 2-1. Again, United threw as much as they could at the wall for the last 15 minutes of this match, but you can't leave it late. You can't do that every single week and hope to walk away with even a single point. So difficult 2-1 loss to the last place team in the Western Conference. We did not get word from the club officially on the status of Kalen Ryden. However, his wife did put a picture on Instagram on Sunday stating that they were spending the day in bed due to a broken collarbone. Now, I have not seen the club officially confirm this, but this is from Kalen's wife. So I think that's going to be about as close as we get. I've done a bit of research on collarbones, and it is not insignificant. This is something that very well could mean the end of Kalen's season. If it is indeed a broken collarbone, you're looking minimum 8 to 10 weeks. I think it's most likely it's going to be closer to 12 weeks, which if you carry that out, that's going to put us into September. October. That's going to put us into October. And so you potentially have him back for playoffs, but at that point, do you risk him?
Yeah.
And I don't think the club does. If Tony's back and healthy, I don't see it. I got asked yesterday, what's the significance? Because I was talking about, about Herbert coming back, about Hirsch coming back. I said, well, the thing with Herbert coming back is with this injury to Ryden, your options are Will Seymour. I mean, Jalen Lindsay could potentially slide inside. I'd rather him not. Or you've got Jace Size or Jackson Dubois, neither of whom I want on the interior.
No. Hoffman is the kid that would come up from the academy if we need a center back. But so to me, it boils down to I think we've been thin at center back for a while now. And because of this, I think we almost have to be looking at bringing somebody in.
Mm-hmm.
if we don't bring somebody in, then as soon as Ryden is cleared to play, he is in the 18. He might not start, but he's in the 18. Whether that's September, October, November, or whenever it is, because we don't have anybody else unless somebody steps up in a major way between now and then. So to me, Ryden and if and when he comes back and all that stuff is solely dependent on what we do with the roster, because you cannot compete in a 34-match season with 2 dedicated center backs on the roster. It's just not going to work. Because if any of them miss any amount of time for any reason, then you have a Kid or Seymour or Lindsay out of position.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to win a championship, which the club talks about that being their goal since day one of year one, I understand this is probably the most expensive roster that we've had already, but you got to back it up by replacing Ryden with somebody.
Oh, I agree. You absolutely do. I think this is, we've talked about, where do we need depth? Where do we need to make a move? And now we're kind of forced into it. And to Andrew's point, I wouldn't hate seeing these guys get some minutes. Obviously, we've seen Jackson get some minutes. We've seen Jace get some minutes. Hoffman, we'd have to sign to an academy contract.
That is true.
He does, but
I've loved watching him attack, though.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that'd be like trying to put Nanan back there as a center back. Like, don't get me wrong, you could probably do it. I mean, and yes, you could probably slide Zico in there, but I think I would see Zico more as an outside back and then slide someone else in. I don't want Zico back there.
But Jabang has like MLS experience at center back. He has played multiple matches at center back for Vancouver, and so Montreal, sorry. So I can see that happening. I don't want it to happen because it takes away from our attack, but that is something that I hadn't thought of. So thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, that's an option there.
I understand that we have some options on the roster. I think we have to see somebody come in.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
I've been calling for another center back signing since last year.
Yeah.
And we haven't got one. So who knows?
Yeah, I don't see Hoffman being thrown in there in the middle of a competitive season. Maybe some spot minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe. So, but I don't think you see him getting 30, 60, 75 minutes.
So let me ask you this, Seth. Mm-hmm. Taking into account everything that happened Saturday, the loss, Ryden's injury, whatever else you want to talk about there. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you on like a panic meter?
I'm not panicking. Like I'm not. If anything, I'm sitting at like an 8, if that.
Okay, so the lower the number, the less panic. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, lower. So 1 is no panic.
So 1 is like you're not panicking at all. 10 is like the sky is falling.
Oh, maybe like a 2.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like at a 3, probably. I think the 2 things that I take away is I think the early clean sheet run was a lot to do with the lack of possession for the other team, and not so much that our defense was superior to everything else. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing some cracks there. And so even when Ryden was there, even if Herbert's in there, I still think we're seeing a little bit of these cracks through defense, and I think we need to shore that up. I think the loss as a whole, I don't really care. We're still in first place. We still have a match in hand over everybody except for Tulsa. We're fine there.
Screw you, Nick Murray. Combined well essentially, but lacks second half spark. Screw you, Nick Murray.
Well, I mean, the injury did we didn't have a lot before the Kalen injury. So
we were up 1-0.
No, but as far as the second half is concerned, we didn't have a lot going on there. But anyways, okay, so like a 2, 3. Justin says he's at like a 5 or 6. Josh says he's not panicking, but it's a pretty bad week. Understandable.
I mean, all that. There was some good news.
Yeah, and we're about to get to that. So,
Yeah.
So we had 2 extensions announced.
Mm-hmm.
We had a Pride kit dropped last week.
Yes.
The sky is not falling by any means, and I think overall, so the devil's advocate. I'm not usually the pessimist here, but I'm going to play it just a little bit. What if these extensions are in the same vein as Quill's extension, and it's just covering our ass because they're going to leave, and we're going to transfer them? And if you don't know, first of all, I think you probably do, but both Talon Maples and Zico Bailey were announced with extensions through next year. Did they both have an option for the following year? I know Zico did.
Zico is club option for 2027. Okay. Talon is straight 2 years.
Straight extension. 2 years. Okay, that's right. Yeah. That's right. So we have them for the rest of this year, all of next year. We have Talon for the year, club option for the year after that.
Yeah.
Awesome news.
It's
news.
Insurance is what it is.
Yeah.
It like with the Quill thing, it's insurance. Now, we've said for a long time that Zico deserves to be at the next level. Zico should be there. I think Talon should be at the next level, and this gives us protection if they do. Right? As just said, it's money in the bank. Right? If someone comes calling, we have that. Hey, we'll give you for a transfer fee. Right? Instead of letting these guys go on free. And I think they've both earned it. They have both earned it. They've both proven what they can do in the black and yellow. It's deserved, and it keeps because again, we've talked, we've had Brucey since year one, Sergio essentially since year one, Kalen essentially since year one. These guys are not getting it. Brucey's 29. Kalen's 33.
Yes.
I think that sounds
34,
right.
I think, actually.
So they're not getting any younger. So you have younger guys like Zico and Talon who can now become part of the future of United. Because Talon has clearly proven that he belongs at or above USL Championship level. Will is 33, Kalen 34, says Andrew. So I think that this is the start of United continuing to build a core for the future. And if you lock up guys like Seiss and Dubois and get them minutes, I don't think we see Brucey beyond next season. I don't think we do. I could be wrong.
Brucey retires here.
Oh yeah.
So he either retires before then, or he's still on the team, but he takes a massive pay cut and is just a deep bench player and a player coach. But
yeah,
overall, with the roster they put together, these 2 announcements, I think the club is showing a propensity to invest with the roster, obviously, and also make smart decisions to where if these up and coming players do want to transfer somewhere else, we at least have them under control where we don't lose them for nothing, which I think it's speaking to the USL as a whole in a lot of ways, because it was very much a 1+1, or maybe just a one season contract. Yeah. Maybe not even with that addition. Like now we've seen a lot of the 1+1s with the option, but back like year one, everybody was on like a 1-year contract except for maybe a couple players. And so I think not only does it show United being savvy, but it also shows USL as a whole growing to where it's like, hey, we're going to make these moves because we are sending players up. We are sending players here. I don't know if either of those players, Zico and Maples, both. I mean, Maples is 26 and Zico's probably around the same. I'll pull it up right now. But they're not necessarily the players that we're New Mexico United's website is still not fantastic. So let me go a different route here. They're not the
Zico's 24.
Okay, so he's a little bit younger. But they're not the profile that most of these moving on to MLS are following. Usually it's a young player that are moving on. Yeah, that's what Justin's point, I think, is that I think these guys have the potential to move up, but if they do, it's not going to be for a lot of money. It's going to be, and it's not going to be for a starting spot on these MLS teams. It's going to be back into the bench type stuff, but there's still talent there, and so we'll see.
Yeah. Speaking of seeing, we have to look forward just a little bit. San Antonio FC this coming weekend at the Lab. San Antonio.
Real quick.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Pride kits?
Oh, I love them. I want one. I want. They're still not available on the shop, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I love them. I want one.
I want to see a picture of them not in the black light.
I would too, but
I saw a picture of they showed the video of like the release that they did, and I did see like a couple. I paused it a couple times and saw them in natural lighting, and I do like them. I don't think I liked them as much as I liked them when the club announced them, but I still want one.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep. No, I want one. I absolutely want one.
Will the shorts match?
No,
of course not. No. Which is annoying, but but yeah. Space Kid, you're super late, and you're on the East Coast. It's like 11 o'clock over there. What are you doing?
Yeah,
what are you running around so late for?
But yeah, as we were saying,
yellow shorts. That'd be something.
I hope not.
Right,
yeah, looking for San Antonio. Our good friend Harry will tell you that San Antonio was not doing so well for a while. San Antonio fans were not happy. But now San Antonio has gone 3 unbeaten with 2 draws and a win, the win over Las Vegas Lights. And San Antonio is back up to 3rd in the Western Conference. The Western Conference is, of course, a little bit tighter after the results this weekend. The top 6 teams all either lost or drew in their last match. So there are only 7 points now separate United from the playoff line. But San Antonio comes in on a bit of a streak. Have you had much of a chance to watch what they're doing of late? They certainly seem to have found some positive. 4 goals in 3 matches, a 3-0 shutout over Las Vegas Lights 2 weeks ago. Maybe San Antonio is finding their form again.
Meh. The Tulsa result looks good because Tulsa is playing really well, but Tulsa is also hit and miss. So playing Tulsa at home, maybe you want 3 points there. Vegas, as much as I was super high on Vegas coming into the year, hoping they can turn it around now that they sacked their coach already and see if they can find a spark there. But and then they beat them 3-0 in San Antonio. Yes, that's a good result. Obviously, we just had 2 back-to-back 3-0 wins on the road, and then kind of fell off. So just because you win 3-0 doesn't mean you're finding form. And then they follow that up with a 0-0 draw against Sacramento this past weekend, which I didn't get to watch. I watched bits and pieces of the Vegas match, and they looked competent. Nothing. I won't say they looked fantastic, but they didn't look like bad either. Obviously, they win 3-0. They're not going to look bad. Jane Harry is okay. He was not affected by the flooding. Thank you for asking, though. And so I'm not like, oh man, it's going to be a tough game because it's Sacramento or San Antonio, but we get them here. We've typically played them here well. And I don't think we're going to go in like the major underdogs as far as form is concerned. I think they're a talented squad. They've been at or near the top of the West the whole season. And And so it's going to be a good match. I'm not going to predict. I'm going to predict we win because I predict we win every week, but I'm not nearly as confident as I was going into Lexington. So who knows what that means? It really, like, the more I think about it, the more I get pissed off about this loss to Lexington because they hadn't won in the league since the first week. But anyways, I digress. To answer your question, no, I don't think they have found like great form yet. They found better form than they were in, but there was they were really bad their first stretch. So
yeah, I would agree. I don't know that they necessarily found where they need to. I do think their performances of the last three were better. Yeah. Now, again, Sacramento is not great. Las Vegas is not great. Obviously Tulsa is doing Tulsa things. Unbeaten 5. So while Tulsa hasn't necessarily lit up the win column, I mean, they've gotten results in 9 out of 12 matches. So you can't really fault them for that. So I do think that San Antonio win or that draw there is actually a good result for them. But yeah, and who knows what else? I know they were dealing with a lot of injuries. I think San Antonio is getting healthy. So I mean, this is going to be a real test for us. San Antonio is always a tough team to play, whether it's here or down at
Toyota Field.
Toyota Field. It's a tough group. I think this is tough. I honestly have a hard time picking against us, but I don't have enough faith in San Antonio that they get the win. And I just don't think, again, they haven't quite put it all together yet. I don't want to see that happen against us. I am concerned about our health going into it. If obviously we're expecting Hurst back any day, we're expecting Herbert back any day. Rivas is back. Harris is still some time off, but I think we need to see Herbert this Saturday. And if we don't, I don't know. I have less faith in our ability to come out with a positive result on Saturday. One of the things that San Antonio has always done well is they've always had size. Yeah. And that's something we have not done well with. That's something that we have not.
They definitely have it on their back line this year. They're not nearly as big up front as they normally are.
Yeah.
In the last match, they had Hawkinson starting up top, Nicky and Jorge Hernandez in the midfield. We know that neither of them are very big. Hawkinson's only 5'10". So up top, they're not as big as they were. Set pieces with Tainter and Crognale coming up could be a little scarier. Crognale is 6'5", and I think Tainter's 6'3". If I'm remembering right, 6'1". Okay, he's not as big as I thought, but they still are going to have size back there on set pieces. Those could be a problem, but in the overall attack, I'm not as concerned about that. Jorge Hernandez and Nicky Hernandez, we know what Nicky's capable of, obviously, having watched him for the last 2 seasons, or season and a half anyways. We know Jorge is, he was one of the players of the year last year, in the running for player of the year last year, and is super talented. I think our midfield is okay, though, and it stacks up well against their midfield. Where I look at it is Tainter and Crognale are going to be really tough to score against because they're 2 of the best center backs in the league. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to be able to attack them aerially that way, even if Hurst is back. It's going to have to be through the ground. Plays like our goal against Lexington are how we're going to be able to score. Kind of catch them in a little bit of transition. Beautiful play through the middle, stuff like that. And so I think our best bet might not be to have Herbert. It might be to have a different center back in there and play more of a defensive-minded style while still having that speed in the attack, and try to catch them in transition moments and try to catch them on the counter and make those big lumberjack guys at their back line have to track back and defend on their heels instead of being in possession and holding the ball, and trying to break them down that way. Because last week against Sacramento, San Antonio held 63% possession, had 200 more passes than Sacramento, had 5 more shots than Sacramento, but only had 1 shot on goal. And so I wonder if that might not be a way that we kind of play them, which is not our style. And so I'm curious to see if we adopt a different style, or if Sanchez is just like, no, this is how we play. I understand we're thin on the back line, but this is how we play. This is how we're going to do it. No adjustments whatsoever. And I'm very curious to see what happens there. Because San Antonio has controlled possession in the majority of their matches from what I'm seeing here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know. Do we let them do what they've been doing most all year, or do we try to take that away from them because that's what we've been doing most? Yeah, I'm very excited to see how this match plays out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what we do. I mean, obviously at home we can't sit back, we can't be defensive. You want to get on the front foot, but how do you score against a team like San Antonio?
See, I disagree with that. Like, I understand the premise behind it, but if that's what you think gives us the best opportunity to win, then I don't care if we're at home or on the road or in China. If that's what gives us the best opportunity, then that's what we should do. I don't know if that's what gives us the best opportunity. I think it is personally, but I'm not the coach, thank God. And so if Sanchez thinks it's the best way, then I don't care if we're at home or not. If Sanchez thinks it's the best way, that's what we should do no matter what. Maybe we take it to him to start, but if it's 0-0 going into the 30th minute, maybe we look at that. I don't know. Obviously, elevation, drink. We like to go at our opponents. We like to be on the front foot to wear them down. But I think there's a way that we can let them wear themselves down by possession with no purpose, and just kind of moving around for no reason, and then strike that way on against some flat-footed big defenders. But I don't know. We'll see. That's from the outside looking in. That could be a way that we attack if we don't have full faith in our back line. Which, even if Herbert's not in there, I have pretty good faith in our back line to at least be solid, if not great. But I don't know. It's going to be a tricky one.
Yep, that it will be. All right, player to watch, and what's your prediction?
Oh, on our side, I think it's Fernando, and he's put himself in really good positions. He's finished some very nicely, some need a little bit of work. I think in the attack, he's kind of going to be the guy that can unlock some things, and he's been playing. I think even with a couple of missed chances this season, I think he's played fantastically and been in the right spots at least, and has finished at least 3 times, which is more than some of our attacking players can say. And as I've said in the past about other people, like, when you keep putting yourself in good spots, good things will happen. And he's constantly in good spots. And so I'm really excited about him. And I think having him as a 9 has been, honestly, I think that might be why we're not seeing him long, is because Fernando's been playing that position fairly well. I don't know. Or him and Gaines have been interlacing through there fairly well. Defensively, it's Maples and Tambakis, but it's always Maples and Tambakis defensively. But even more so now with the injury to Ryden, and we'll see if Herbert is ready to go or not. For them, Hernandez is always it's Hernandez, it's Tainter, it's Crignali, and it's whatever 9 they have in there. Those are always going to be the key players for them. I'm not super concern's not the right word, but like their backs, their left and right back, and then their wide players don't necessarily stick out to me.
Mhm.
But that's a good shout out, Justin. Jabang is going to be key because he's going to play everywhere and he's going to be in charge of a lot of things, and so I do like that. He's kind of always important and always like a huge part. So Fernando's got to finish, I think, if we have a chance to really win this. And I do think we have a chance to win it. So I'm going to predict kind of a weird, sluggish, kind of an interesting match, and I think it's kind of ugly, and I think it's a 1-0, 1-1 score line. That's kind of what I'm going back and forth in my head. But because I don't predict draws, I'm going to go 1-0 less.
Okay. For me, it's Akale. I think Akale has been one of the more dynamic pieces going forward. The only thing I will say is I need him to be decisive. I need him to make a cut and then decide, not make a cut and then a second cut and try to make a third cut and make one.
That's who Akale is. That's who Akale has been since he's been here, though.
So, all right, so here's the thing, and I overheard a conversation some time ago.
Okay.
The conversation was exactly that Akale is aware that he's doing too much, that he needs to be one move and done. He's he's doing too much. He's getting the ball stuck under him. He's, and he's aware of it.
Okay.
And he's actively working on it.
Okay.
So I need to see that, because when he's decisive, we've seen what he can do. We've seen him, put really good shots on goal, either from set pieces or from open play. We've seen him make decisive, direct passes that have led to very good things.
Mm-hmm.
Stop overthinking and just play. Right? That's the thing. That's what I want to see from him. I think he can be a driving force. He can open up things for Fernando. He can open up things for Vargas. If you have Vargas in that 10, that more central, central role. And if you don't have a 9, just have Vargas lie a little bit deeper. Right? So I think it's Akale. Akale can open up so much.
My argument is, until I see that from Akale, I'm not going to expect it from Akale because it's been 1.5 years now.
Yeah.
And he's probably known that whole 1.5 years. And it reminds me of a joke that a comedian, I don't know who it is, and I apologize, but he basically is like, millennials are the best about this. They will say, "Oh, I have anxiety." And then when you ask them, "Oh, okay, what are you doing about that?" They will say nothing. Mm-hmm. They're not trying to fix things whatsoever. And that's Akale to me. He's like, yeah I do this. Okay, fix it. Like, show us that you're trying to fix it. And I haven't seen it, because he is electric. He does do some incredible things with the ball at his feet. And there was a highlight in that package against Lexington where he gets the ball kind of like right at the cutoff of the midfield third and our attacking third. And he makes a defender miss, and he cuts inside, and he's driving the ball towards the 18. And there he does make a decent decision, but I think it's a split second too late.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's a highlight that doesn't lead to a goal.
Yeah.
If he makes that decision a split second earlier, maybe it's a highlight that leads to a goal, or at least a shot on goal. And so until I see it, I'm not going to expect it.
Yeah.
And it's super frustrating because the talent is clearly there. And it seems like this year was even last year, I think, is when we saw glimpses of it. I'm not sure we've seen glimpses of the decisive bam, bam, create good stuff from Akale this year. I'm sure we have in bits and pieces because he's played so much. But overall this year, he's been simultaneously like electric and super fun to watch, while also being like super frustrating to watch. It's this weird dynamic.
Yeah.
The juxtaposition of those two things just doesn't make sense to me. And so, it's a great call, because honestly, if he does do that this match, we can win this going away.
Oh yeah.
He has that kind of power that if he stops doing those bad things and just plays, you could see 2, 3, 4 goals easily from this offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I do agree with that. All right, score prediction. 2-2.
Okay.
Yeah, I want Alex to get the record. I really do. I don't see it this weekend. So that's where I'm at. Anything else on this match?
No, man. I love playing San Antonio. It's always fun when we play San Antonio. It's always fun with Harry. Hopefully he can come on next week, regardless of the result. But yeah, it's always one that I have circled on my calendar. I'm not gonna make it out there, but I will be hopefully at the 28th match, the match on the 28th. But it's gonna be a fun one. I'm excited for it, and I like that we take that ugly L last week, and we come back. We play. I don't think there's a rival because there's no like hate there, but there's a ton of mutual respect there. I think both clubs really respect the other club, and I think it's a good match to shake off that during this week to get us refocused. Because like if we were going in and playing Oakland or Las Vegas or somebody like that isn't near the top of the table, is kind of floundering, doesn't have the respect that San Antonio does, then maybe we kind of sit in that loss a little longer and let it dwell a little more. But I think with this one, it's like, hey, we got San Antonio come down. We got to shake that off. We got to figure out what we're going to do. Here's the plan. Let's execute the plan. And we're back into it. Because every coach and every player will tell you, oh, they take every game, every season, one game at a time. Every game's as important. I'm telling you right now, that's bullshit. It's not that way. If you're playing Las Vegas when they look like crap, or Lexington, for instance, when they look like crap, you don't get up for it. It's human nature. You just don't. It doesn't work that way. And so professionally, you can go through the same motions, but emotionally, you're not at that level. And I think emotionally, we'll be at that level for this one. And so I think it'll be a good match for us to shake it off.
All right. A couple quick hitters before we get out of here. Club World Cup, ref cam, yes or no?
It is what it is. Like it's been interesting to see. But at the same time, as somebody who wears a body cam for work, like the body cam is not what I see.
Right.
And so the camera that they're wearing, it gives us more of their perspective, but it doesn't give us the full perspective of what they're seeing and what they're doing, because they could be looking this way and their camera's facing this way.
Yeah.
They could be looking over here and their camera's facing right here. And so it's been fun from a fan perspective to see it. I don't know how much I think it's going to lead to some, well, how did you miss that? You were right. It's right there. Like blah, blah, blah. And we could get in trouble with that. There's some stuff there that could be an issue. So, but at the same time, it's a cool angle to see some plays. Like I like it for like highlights, which they're not going to use it for, but like it'd be pretty sick if somebody shoots a worldie from right in front of the ref and you can get that ref cam footage of that shot. But I don't know. We'll see. I saw something where it's not going to be like if there's a controversial call, they're not going to show it.
Yeah.
From the ref cam, which is exactly my point, because it'll just be more controversial.
Yep. All right. All four North American teams have played in Club World Cup. Inter Miami gets a 0-0 draw. Seattle Sounders lose their opening match 2-1. LAFC loses their match 2-0. And CF Monterey picked up a draw in theirs. Which North American club has the best shot of advancing?
Oh, man. So you're putting me on the spot here, and I'm going to sound like a huge homer. I am. I watched that LAFC Chelsea match. Chelsea's by far the best team in that group, but the top two teams come out of each group, if I'm not mistaken. And so they don't have to finish above Chelsea. They just have to finish above everybody else. And I thought, even though they lost in a game that you lose 2-0, I don't know if I could have been more impressed with LAFC, because they held their own. They got beat in 2 crucial moments, obviously, but they didn't look bad against a pretty good Premier League team, a top half of the table Premier League team, and they look, if they can shake off the 2-0 loss and just take away the positives of that match moving forward, I think they have a chance. Miami also, I mean, they got the best result of the weekend or of the first opening group stage match. And I'm not exactly sure who else is in their group, but
Inter Miami's group is Al Ali FC, FC
Okay.
Porto, and Palmeiras.
So they have a decent bracket, a decent couple matches the rest of the way. I think we could see one or both of those teams make it out of their group in that second place. Maybe even Miami in the first place. If Messi actually, I mean, we know Messi can do Messi things at the drop of a hat. So both of those teams, I think, as Justin said, those two are the two that could get out of their group. And I think at least one of them does.
Okay.
Now, what that says for the bracket, who knows? Because it's going to depend on matchups and stuff like that. Probably not looking at getting out of the first round of that. But hey, I think both of those have a chance to get out, and one of them will. Seattle, on the other hand, going to be tough. I think they still could make some noise. They like Josh said, they looked good, but just a little messy at times. And so, yeah, overall, we didn't get a win, but I actually thought it was a decent showing for the 3 MLS sides, considering this is only the second time we've had teams in that competition. So,
all right. Yeah. So looking ahead, the winner of Group A, that is Al Ali, FC Porto, Palmeiras, and Inter Miami. The winner of that would get second place in Group B. Second place in Group B is going to be PSG, Seattle Sounders, Atletico, or Botafogo. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, Miami's screwed there. Honestly. So does the second place in B get first place, or second place in A get first place in B?
First place in B gets second place in A.
Yeah. So Miami's screwed no matter what, because they're going to get a tough team there.
Yeah. And then should LAFC come out, it's Group D.
Probably second place. They'll play
first
Group
in
C,
D would get Group C, second place in Group C. And then 2D gets one in Group C. So
they're probably going to be 2D. So
Group C is Bayern, Benfica, Boca Juniors, and Auckland City.
If we somehow could win that group, maybe.
Yeah,
but
if you
Byron put up
Bayern.
10. Byron put up 10 on Auckland. So honestly, though, I'd love to see him play Byron. So bring it on. That would be awesome to see.
Pochettino in or out?
Hold on. I want to back up just a second. It is awesome to see less than a year ago, or right around a year ago, we played LAFC. And then a year later, they're playing Chelsea.
So by extension, we're playing Chelsea? Is that what you're trying to get at?
No. It's just cool to me to see that, like, hey, this team here, LAFC, played their starters against us last year. And we at least, like, scared them just a little bit in that second half. And then I think they do as good as they probably could against Chelsea. And so I just like the fact that, like, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, like, we're 3 degrees from Chelsea there. And I think it's cool. And I think it shows, one, soccer in America is still on the upswing, and soccer as a whole is doing really well. That was kind of my takeaway from that.
Yeah. All right. Pochettino in, Pochettino out.
What are we doing? Like, it's the same thing with Sanchez. Like, give the man 5 freaking minutes, please. Like, yes, it was terrible. I get that. We also have, like, none of our best players playing right now. He hasn't had any time to work with them. Now, He might not have any time to work with him before the World Cup. I don't know. But no, relax. Like, unless he wants to leave to take the Tottenham job, which isn't open anymore.
I don't think they want him back.
Probably not. I don't.
I mean, you guys just fired your coach after winning silverware. So
yeah, we're not talking about Tottenham right now. We're talking about Poch. In, please.
Okay.
So just everybody fucking chill. Like, chill with Poch, chill with freaking Sanchez. Like, let the managers manage for more than 5 fucking seconds.
Does a 5-0 win over Trinidad and Tobago erase 4 consecutive losses?
It does not erase it. It does lessen the sting quite a bit, though.
Okay. And then what sort of statement does the U.S. men's national team need to make in this Gold Cup for Pochettino to keep his job?
Okay.
If we crash out, like if we do not make it past if we do not make it to at least the semifinal, does Pochettino still have a job heading into the World Cup?
This is the same organization that kept Berhalter for years after people wanted him gone. And that was Berhalter, not a name like Poch.
Mm-hmm.
Poch could lose the next 3 matches in the Gold Cup and be eliminated right away, and he's still going to have a job unless he decides to leave, which is on the table. So I don't think he has to prove himself any way, shape, or form in the Gold Cup with his like C team, B team, C+ team players. I don't think any of that matters. And I hope that it doesn't matter, because we're less than a year away from a World Cup games. Like, to make a change now is suicidal, in my opinion, unless it's bringing Berhalter back, because at least you know what you're getting with him and what he expects.
Mm-hmm.
But the fans would riot if that happened. And so no, he's fine. He's going to be our manager for the World Cup. And if he's not, then I'm probably out on the U.S. men's national team for a long time.
Do you agree with Pulisic skipping the Gold Cup?
His body, his choice. I mean, I obviously, no, I want him there. I want these top tier players to get as many reps under Poch as they can before the World Cup. But also, Pulisic's not a spring chicken anymore, despite what you think. I mean, he's still young, but he's got a lot of minutes. Remember, he started young. And
he has played a lot of soccer. I will give him that.
And so if he wants to take some time off to rest his body, then by all means do that. I'm a little bummed because I want him to get those reps, but I'm not going to kill him for it. I'm also not going to kill Poch for saying, hey, I know you said that you would play in these 2 friendlies, but since you're not going to be here for the Gold Cup, I'm not going to have you play in these 2 friendlies. I'm not going to kill Poch for that either. So they're both.
Should he have skipped just the friendlies and then been there for the Gold Cup?
I think so, but that again, I don't like. I say his body, his choice jokingly because of the history behind that statement, but it's true. Like, if he wants to rest, it's fine. Like, rest.
Yeah,
you've played a shit ton of soccer in your young life. I'm not going to hold that against you.
Well, how about Gio Reyna? Obviously, Dortmund is in Club World Cup. However, Gio Reyna has not featured extensively for Dortmund in some time. He is not getting regular minutes, but he opted out of World Cup or out of Gold Cup.
A ton of people gave Berhalter shit for being a nepotism hire, a nepo baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gio is the epitome of that right now. Ton of talent. He has had a ton of talent. I loved watching him play for Dortmund when he was playing for Dortmund.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what went wrong. I don't know if it was just injuries, the stuff with Berhalter. I don't know. But he is down bad right now. And he should have come in to try to prove, like, hey, I'm a player that can help this team. And he didn't do that. So to me, it's a much bigger mistake for Reyna not coming over than it is for Pulisic. But at this point, like, is Reyna even going to be on the World Cup team, even if he's healthy?
I don't know. That's a very good question. I
understand he's super.
I think you have a better argument for Diego Luna.
Yeah. I understand that he's super talented. He's probably more talented.
The puppy killer, but
shout out Earl. I understand that Reyna's way more talented, but he also doesn't play. And form, like, I don't care what you say, form matters. And so, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yep. That's the U.S. men's national team is in a huge pivot point right now. And I'm very curious to see what transpires between now and the World Cup and how that World Cup goes.
Yep. Interesting times indeed. All right. That's all that I had. Any other questions, comments before we get out of here?
No. I'm going to shout out Fort Sumner for just a second. We have a thing called Old Fort Days here. It's kind of like a little festival type thing. We have a bunch of events. I'm now the president of the Chamber of Commerce somehow. I don't know how that happened, but I am. And I thought we just had it this last week. I thought it went really well, but I'm already going to tell you guys, please, next year, I will give you some heads up. Come on out, man. It's a load of fun. If you're in any kind of shape, come out and try to do a tombstone race. Let me tell you this tombstone race. All right. There's 2 horizontal poles. One's at 4 foot and one's at 6 foot off the ground. There's 4 different categories. There's an open division, a women's division, a couples division, and an over 35 division. If you get into the open division, so all you young bucks out there that think you're hot shit, if you win that race, you get $2,500. If you come in second place, you get $1,000. But what that race is you have to go over the 4 foot, over the 6 foot, grab an 80-pound tombstone, come back over the 6 foot, over the 4 foot, touch that tombstone to the ground where you started, then go back over with the tombstone, and then come back to the finish line without the tombstone. It is a grueling race, and but it is a lot of fun to watch. And so now the couples and the women and the 35 and over, it's only a 20-pound little stone. And so I did run the 35 and over. It was a ton of fun. I didn't fall. I beat the guy that I was up against. I still didn't I finished third in that division. And so it was a blast though. So next year, it's the second weekend in June. Come on out. It's a good time. And the chamber is always looking to add stuff and tweak stuff and stuff like that.
Space Kid with a question. Do you think Poch will call up Zalelem? No.
Space Kid. I'm a little concerned, man. Your love of Zalelem is concerning me for some reason lately. I don't understand. Like, he's been fantastic, but just I'm worried about you right now.
He's been good. I wouldn't say fantastic.
I don't know. I think
he's getting better. He's getting better. He's been good. He's getting better.
Some things like a torn Achilles, a dislocated shoulder, I would agree with that. Yeah. Andrew, don't do the 80-pound tombstone one. You can do the 20-pound one though. I have faith in you. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I have. That was how I spent my weekend, was running around like a politician, and event coordinator all Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
So when is Fort Sumner annexing Tier C?
I don't get the joke.
Like you're now the president of the Chamber of Commerce of Fort Sumner. When are you going to be annexing Tier C from the rest of the county down there?
Tier C is not in my county.
I know, that's right. That's why I'm like, when are you going to annex it?
Oh, bring it in?
Yeah.
No, never.
Okay, fair enough.
No.
So I do have a small.
Have we talked about Tier C before on this podcast?
No.
Where did the Tier C come from?
Just throwing it out there.
So I lived in Tier C for several years when I was in school. I have family in Tier C. I will never move back to Tier C. I will never claim ties to Tier C in any way, shape, or form. No, Tier C can stay exactly where it's at.
Okay. No, it's just a random city thrown out there because you're now president of something. So
fair enough. Yeah.
So I do want to announce that the NMBA, New Mexico Broadcasters Association, has announced their awards for 2025. I have won 2 more awards.
Nice.
From the NMBA. So I am now the 2-time defending reigning winner of radio station website of the year and social media integration of the year. So
nice.
Yeah.
Good job.
So
good job.
Yeah. 1017 did not get station of the year this year for Metro Market. We won 5 categories. KKOB won 7. So if we had won 1 more, we would have been named station of the year alongside KKOB. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sweet. So yeah. But yeah, that's all. All right. You ready to get out of here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, let's do
Everybody in the chat, even Space Kid who showed up 2 hours late. Thank you guys so much. I have a wonderful time doing this. I apologize for not watching the match, but I think it was still a good show. Still had fun. And yeah, all in all, the sky is not falling. We're fine. We will be back next Tuesday, hopefully talking about a good showing against San Antonio. No matter what, it's going to be an interesting one because of a bunch of things going on with the team and everything. So be sure to watch that 7:00 on Saturday. Go to it. Buy tickets if you're in town. Otherwise, you can catch it on ESPN Plus. Like always, I think it's ESPN Plus. I'm pretty sure it is. And so, yeah, tune in again next week. Same time, same places. We will be back. And until then, love y'all. Somos Unidos.